Welcome to the Board Game Network. This is James here. I'm going to be teaching you how to play this game called Stone Age. It is 2 to 4 players, plays in about an hour to an hour and a half, 13 years and up. It is a worker placement game. Here's your setup here. You've got your food tiles over here on the board. You have your wood here, and it shows you the little icon there on the board where to put those, and you got some bricks here, and you got some stones here, and you got gold here in the river. You have tools here, and you got the 1 and 2 on one stack, the 3 and 4 on the other stack, so you got 2 stacks there. You have your cards shuffled here and 4 flipped up. You have these tiles, these building tiles, 7 per stack, and there's the number of stacks that there are players in the game. So I've got this set up for 4 players, so I've got 4 stacks. You've got a small cube that you put on the ag track for each color, and you've got a large cube that you put on the scoring track for each color. You have 5 meeples for each color on your board, and you're going to have 5 extras over off into a supply here. Each player is going to get 10 food to start with, and their board. This is the starting player tracker here, and you just go through. There's 3 phases in this game. Here's your dice here. 3 phases in this game. You place figures on the board. So you're just going to pull one of your figures, and you're going to see these ovals here. You're going to put them on the ovals of what you want to do during the game, and so that's phase 1, and you're going to do a 1, and then the next player, and you go around and around until everybody has played all of their people out. And you might be putting more than 1 at a time. These ones with multiple ovals here, you can put more than 1 at a time. The hut here, this hut here, you put 2 down at a time. So you're not necessarily putting 1 at a time. The second phase is to play actions, and so the starting player is going to look at all of the people that they've got laid out on the board and take those actions until he's completely done, and then that's going to go to the next player, the next player, the next player. And then once all 4 players or however many players have done their actions, then you feed your tribe. And the tribe eats 1 food per person that you have. So starting the game, you're going to have to make sure you have 5 food. You start with 12, so that gets you a couple of rounds before you have to kick in and really start producing some food. So let's just jump into the action phase here. So once all of the people are out here, let's just throw some out here on the board. Anytime you're putting stuff on a specific area like your stone or your gold, you can only do that once per turn. So you can't put some out and then come back and put some more out on it. This over here is the farm, and you can put as many tiles you want to over here as you want to, and because there are no ovals, so you can place as many as you want out there. So let's just talk about each of these. This is the tool area, and this is where you get tools. So if you would place a figure there, then when it's your turn, you're going to take a tool and you place it over here in your tool area on your board. Now the way the tools work is you are going to put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and once you've got 3 1s, then if you get another one, this one's going to flip over to a 2, that one will go to 2, that one will go to 2. Once that's happened, if you get another one, you're just going to return that one and get a 3. And then you can get up to 4, 4, 4. And what tools do for you is it reduces it lets you get other items a little bit cheaper. You're rolling dice to pick up your wood and your brick and your stone, and if you have some tools over here, what it allows you to do is after you roll the dice, if you don't like your die roll, you turn your tool sideways, and that adds 1 to your die roll. So if you have 2 tools, then you can turn 2 of them sideways and add 2 or 3 or 4. Now you can't split those tools up. Like if you had a 3 here, you'd have to use the 3 all at once. You can't split it up between die rolls. So that makes your die rolls even better, is having tools. This hut here, you have to put 2 people on, and it gives you another person. That's how you get more people. And so that would come out, and each time you're doing your action, you're going to pull those pieces off the board. And then you go to your next action, you go around and look, see where all your people are, and you get to do them in whatever order you want to. This one here is the ag track, and that moves you up 1 space on the agriculture, and that makes your food cheaper, is what it does. Actually, when it comes time to feed at the end of the turn, end of the round, you actually get a food for each space you're up on the ag track before you pay for your people that you owe. So it's actually possible to actually produce more food than what you're eating. That is possible. Doesn't happen too often, I don't think, but it's possible. Here is the farm, and the way the farm works is if you look at here, it shows you what the value of each of these are. And so if you put 3 people over there on the farm, you're going to roll 3 dice. You are going to drop them on the floor, pick them back up, and I rolled a 9. And so you're going to take 9 divided by 2, which gives me 4. You're going to lop off any extra, and that gives me 4 food. So I'm dividing by 2. Now, if I had an axe here, I could make that a 10 and draw 5 food. Okay? Wood works exactly the same way, except for you divide by 3. However many people you have here, that's how many dice you roll. You divide by 3, that's how much wood you get. Clay bricks, you divide by 4. Stones, you divide by 5. Gold, you divide by 6. So you're gonna, if you want gold, you're gonna need to make sure you put enough people there that when you roll, then you're gonna divide by 6 and get that many gold. So that's how all of that works. Then here are your civilization cards are over here. They also have an oval on them, so you can put your person on whichever card that you would like. There is the top half of the civilization card. That happens immediately. The bottom half is for game end scoring. So if you look up above the civilization card, it shows you what you need to actually purchase the card. This is one of any commodity, so that would be food is not one of your resources. It's the word resource, not commodity. You can use gold, stone, clay, or wood. One of those would buy this card. 2 of them would buy this card. 3, 4. Any ones that you have. So when you are rolling dice and choosing what you're doing out here, you need to make sure you do it in a good order. Like I would take the axe first, so that can be used later when you're rolling dice out here, or when you're, and then you want to get your resources before you buy your cards. And then you also have ovals on the building tiles. And these building tiles cost resources. This is a victory points. So you go up on the points immediately when you get one of these tiles. This is what it costs to buy that tile. This one has a question mark, and because it's not a fixed point, it costs you 4 resources, and this one actually costs you 4 different kinds of resources, and the number of points you get is based on the value of those resources. So 4 different resources, there's only 4 different kinds, so you really would get 4 or 6 and 5 is 11, 15, 18 for this one here. Some of them actually have 2 different kinds, but it doesn't have to be 2 of each. It could be 3 of one and 1 of the other. And so if you go low end with wood, they're only going to be worth 3 each, but if you go high end with gold, they're going to be worth 6 each. So you can get a lot of points on these question mark ones. Once you have your person placed on one of these cards or one of these tiles, you actually don't have to purchase them. You don't have to do that thing. You could just leave it there and not purchase it. Maybe you were going to purchase it for 3, but then your die roll didn't work out. You didn't have 3 resources, so you couldn't purchase it. Or you may just choose not to purchase it. Maybe you wanted to keep somebody else from getting that one, so you just took that spot. So again, these resources help you get these cards and these tiles. That's the point of them. The tools help you get better die rolls. The huts give you more people. And the agriculture gets you more food so that you can feed your people. And then the third phase is to feed. You are going to get 1 food for each place up on the ag track. You're going to subtract 1 food for every person that you have. And in the third phase, you're going to have all your people back on your board because you've picked them all up and put them back. If you're short food, if you don't have enough food, you have to first spend all the food that you have, and then you can subtract 1 resource for a food. So if you're short 3 food, you can take 3 resources off. It doesn't matter what they are, and pay for your people. Or you also have a choice of spending 10 victory points, subtracting 10 off the scoring to pay for a food, or to pay for any amount of food. If you're short 1 food or you're short 5 food, minus 10 victory points, and then that covers no matter how much food. So you have a choice of doing either the resource or the victory point loss. You don't have to pay for the food with resources, even if you have it. And then once all of this has happened, then the first player marker goes to the left, and then he becomes the first player. When you buy one of these civilization cards, these go just face down out here. Unless it's a card that happens, you can use it during your turn or something. It's a one-time use card, and if that's the case, you leave it face up so you can remember, and then once you use it, then it goes face down on your stack. Okay, so after we've done feeding, all these cards slide to the right, and then we flip new cards to fill up to 4 spaces. So it doesn't matter how many got used, you slide all of them to the right and then fill up to 4. You straighten any tools that you have turned sideways. And then the game ends when one of 2 things happens. If you cannot put 4 civilization cards out, the game's over immediately. You do not finish a round or anything. You just stop the game and then you go into game end scoring. Or if you have a building tile stack that goes empty, you go ahead and finish the round. Now, final scoring. This is where you need to look at these cards here. There are green cards, and they have a symbol down here. Like here's a pot, here's a flute, different kinds of symbols, and you score based on the number of different symbols you have. So if I had these 2 symbols, 2 different symbols, I square the number of different symbols or sets, and that's how many points I get. So that would be worth 4 points. If I had 3 different symbols, that's worth 9 points. Now you've got a little track here to help you with your squaring. If you don't know that, it shows up to 8 different symbols. So you got 8 different symbols, you can get 64 points. This track only goes up to 100. 64 points if you had 1 of every symbol that's available here on these cards. So that's a very nice way of getting a lot of points. The sand, so that's if you got the green grass down here. If you've got the sand ones are actually based on other things, like this tool maker. You multiply the number of tool makers you have times the number of tools you have, and that's how many points you get. So you got to watch, and sometimes some of these have 2 figures on them, so they actually add faster. So this one is the tool maker times the number of tools. You've got the building person times the builders times the number of buildings you have. You have the shaman times the number of figures you have. You have farmers times the ag track that you're on. And resources at the end, but not food, are worth 1 point each. And so you simply just add up all of those at the end. Let me explain some of these cards to you. This is just simply 7 food. If you take that one, 7 food, and then at the end it's got that symbol. This one's worth 3 victory points. This one's worth 4 tools. Now this is one of those that I said is a one-time use card. You just leave it out here, and then when you want to use it, you roll your dice and you say, you know what, this would be a really good place to add 4 to my dice. So you use that, you flip it over, and you've used it. It's one-time use. This one here is very interesting. Whenever you get this one, you're going to roll the number of dice equal to the number of players, and then you're going to set those dice on the card. And it shows a symbol next to each die. And so you got the ag track, you got tools, you got gold, stone, clay, or wood, and you get to take whichever one you want. The first player, whoever did this, can use whichever one he wants that matches one of these, and he's going to take that die off. Let's say he really needs stone, so he takes the 3 off. And then that goes to the next player, and he gets to take one of the dies off, and he may want to move up the ag track, and then the other 2 get stuck with clay because there's 2 2s. So there's a reference sheet for all these cards here. Tells you how each of them work. There's also a reference sheet for the scoring, the upper section, the lower section, on how that scoring works, and gives you some little tips down here at the end. But anyway, once you're done scoring, then you decide who's won there. So that's how you play this game called Stone Age. It's a worker placement. It's very straightforward. It's not as complex as some of your worker placements, but it's a fun game and plays in about an hour, hour and a half. Make sure to tune into all of our How to Play videos here at the Board Game Network.